Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again. I am just gonna give a quick little message. I just wanted to do a quick little rant before I did the review with Safi, because I know that Safi probably wouldn't appreciate this because she, you know, people have different tastes with movies. Men and women like different things. And she probably wouldn't like what I'm going to talk about right now because Halloween H20 was fucking garbage. And one of the biggest issues right off the bat is the lack of female breasts. And just female nudity of any kind. I mean, God, it all it takes is just one scene, for fuck's sake. How hard is it? I mean, if you don't just come on. I mean, what are we doing here? This movie mentions lots of melons, then they don't even show any melons. I mean, what the hell? I mean, that's like a staple of the Halloween movies. You got fucking boobs in every movie. You got the first one. You got Judith Myers. She's got big breasts covered in blood. It's like a blood bath. It's like big pancakes with blood syrup all over them bitches. And then you got Linda. And she's in bed with her big breasts. And it's some nice breasts. Michael just stares at them. He doesn't even know what to do. He just stands there. He is just in awe of those breasts. And then in part 2, you got that one nurse, the dark-haired nurse. And she's like fully naked because she's showering, whatever. She's getting ready to get in the hot tub. And she's got some little nurse breasts too. Good for nursing. And then you got part 3. Part 3 isn't even connected to the series, but in part 3 you got Minnie, and she's in that lingerie, and she didn't even have to show any actual nudity. She was fucking perfect. And then they showed male nudity. They had Tom Atkins' ass. I mean, come on. Even Halloween 3 has nudity in it. And then Halloween 4. You had the daughter of the sheriff. Her boobs were just waiting to pop out of that sweater. They were just waiting. They were like characters in and of themselves. They were like, boob 1 and boob 2, like in Cat in the Hat. You got thing 1 and thing 2. They were just like, they were waiting. They wanted to see Michael Myers. They wanted to see Laurie Strode. They were excited to be in a Halloween film. And when they came out, I'm over-exaggerating for comedic effect, just so you know. And then you got part 5. Unfortunately, in part 5, you don't get to see Tina's boobs, which I was really disappointed by. I thought that was a big letdown. She was clearly the star of the film in terms of breast possibility, but you get to see the blonde girl. What's that girl? The blonde girl in the devil outfit. You get to see her boobs. And she's got that sex scene in the farmhouse. I mean, that was a nice little sex scene. She's lying there, and then her boyfriend's on top of her, and those nipples are just popping up too. And then you got part 6. Part 6, you got you got that one girl in the Bride of Frankenstein outfit. She had these little perky little boobs, and wow, they were some nice tatas. And then you get the Halloween H20, and what do you get? You get shit. I mean, who made this movie? Oh yeah, the people who made Scream. Listen, I know that the Scream movies are practically devoid of sexuality, but that doesn't mean you have to ruin Halloween. That doesn't mean you have to take the boobs out of Halloween. When I see a Halloween movie, I want to see some bazookas. That is integral to a Halloween movie's success. And why? I mean, this movie is rated R. Why is this movie rated R? This movie should have been G. G for goody-goody fanboys who just want to see Jamie Lee Curtis being Laurie Strode. Because that's all this movie is. Okay, that's beside the point, because I'll talk about that with Safi. But I was like, what the hell? Like, we're going to have a Halloween movie without any nudity? Like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? What kind of a world are we living in? I mean, it's bad enough. I mean, listen, I know that nudity isn't required for movies, but it's almost like a fun thing, like, because in regular movies, you don't see any nudity because you got all these goody-goody two-shoe actresses who don't want to do it. And it's just like drama, comedy. I mean, comedies, you get to see it. But, like, horror is like a nice little... It's almost like horror is like a nice little chance for you to get to see some... Like, you know, it's like something you've come to expect. It's like a tradition. And for them to take that away, what a disgrace. What a complete embarrassment. And then, we're going to get the Halloween Resurrection. I can't wait to talk about that one, because I'm going to be doing a booby rant for that too. And I am not high at all. I'm just trying to make this very uninteresting subject a little bit more interesting, because I know a lot of people will be like, well, Marco, who cares if there aren't any tits in the Halloween movie? I do. I care. And you know, it starts a path. It starts a path where if we can do that in one movie, we can start doing it in all the movies. So if we don't have to have nudity in this movie, we can just have no nudity in any future Halloween movies. Well, except for the Rob Zombie ones, of course, because, you know, he lives to show his wife naked on screen. Like, I am convinced that he gets off on just having everyone in America look at his wife naked. That's beside the point. But I was really disappointed with that, because you got H20. I mean, this is supposed to be like the most, like the hip, the young, the youthful Halloween movie, and then you get there and it's like, what is this? It's like a G-rated Halloween movie. You got this. It's time to talk with Safi about this shit, because I am gonna unload on this movie, and not in a sexual way, obviously, because that would be gross, because this movie fucking sucks. So, I'll see you in the review.
Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And we're still on Halloween month. And we're also watching all the Halloween movies, and we are on number 7.
It's not really 7, though. It's H20.
Yes, it's called Halloween H20. And you think, why are they calling it water? Halloween water.
Well, I'm drinking water right now.
But that is not what it refers to. It refers to the 20th anniversary of Michael Myers and his Halloween night rampage. And we are now into ignoring all the sequels.
No, except for part 2. They're acknowledging part 2, but not part 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, well, I'm glad Marco got more specific, because there's a lot that they are ignoring. It's like it never happened.
Yeah, it's almost like the writers were so terrible that they couldn't actually write the script that they were assigned to write. And so they were like, let's just make Scream, but with Halloween.
Yes, and so we actually get to see LL Cool J, who I thought looked very short because he's been on NCIS, LA NCIS, and he looked really tall and he always is serious. But this one he was goofy, had a girlfriend. I just thought that was interesting because I've seen him in such a more serious role. Always. He's never goofy like that. He was goofy and young and jokey but anyway, that doesn't have anything to do with Halloween, but it's just something I noticed that's funny and weird and positive about the movie because there's really a lot that isn't positive.
The whole movie?
But basically the whole movie, and I'm going to say the whole movie, was about Laurie Strode, if you want to talk about the characters.
What else was it about, though?
Fighting with her brother to the death.
No, I just think it's about Laurie Strode. I don't really think it's about Michael Myers at all. Because he went from being a character in part 6 to being his typical cardboard cutout self. In fact, in this movie, we don't even get to see any stalking of his. He has no scenes where he's watching people and he's like, you see his point of view. There's literally none of that. All he does is just walk in the background sometimes.
And another significantly weirdo thing was all the Halloweens, all of them, no matter whether they acknowledge each other or not, which sounds weird, like they're human beings or something, took place in Illinois, in Haddonfield, in a little town. This took place in Cali, or California, north of the Yosemite National Park, which is where my other boy lives. And how does he know about California?
He
and
can
why
feel
did
it.
They take the movie to California?
Because California is hip. And California is where Scream was made.
And Laurie's in California. But I just found that, I mean, how would he know about that? He's kind of barely functioning. All he does is live to kill and just walk around wearing a mask. And I just don't. So that was right off the bat.
He drives. He has to drive, too.
Where did he get his license and where did he learn how to drive?
Well, if actually, part 6 actually suggested that the head doctor taught him how to drive.
Oh.
Because they were in the cult. So part 6 already fixed that issue, but I guess part 6 wasn't good enough to acknowledge, so we just have to forget about that.
Oh, there's really not much to say in terms of like little significant events that happened, because there weren't another really big event, and I remember when they talked about this on the news, was that Jamie Lee Curtis was excited to do this movie, not because she loves the series so much, I think she's fed up and sick of it, but her mom was in it. Her mom played like a secretary, and so they got to be in a movie together, and so they were both really happy about that.
Yeah, she's in like 2 scenes.
Yeah, she's not in a lot, and she doesn't have a lot of lines, and her role's not very significant to the
Her
Michael
role
Myers
is literally
story.
a reference.
Yeah, and they're just, I remember they were very excited, both of them, to be in this movie with each other, and even though it was, brief, and actually in the movie Jamie Lee yells at her because she scared her, because she seems to think, of course, and it's true because she has a feeling too. Michael, I guess, had a feeling she lived in California, so he drove all the way there, driving this actually it was a kind of a cool old, I don't know, like a kind of a van or a minibus, but it was different. It was old fashioned, but he drove that there.
They should have had like a road trip scene, like in like in Problem Child 2, where they're like where he's like picking out on junk food, and then he has to drink like Pepto Bismol. They should have just shown Michael driving, and like
Well,
he's bored, and so he listens to the Halloween theme over and over again, so that the fanboys can get to hear it over and over again, and
well,
go like, "Ugh!"
I know nobody cares about this detail crap, but I mean, you really have to shut off reality or anything to do with realism when it comes to a movie like this because you know, he drove from Illinois to Cali, which is a long way. Where did he get the money? To buy the gas, to buy the food, to eat, to go along the way. And how did a car like that last on a huge trip?
I can solve that plot hole. Guess how he did it.
He has magic powers.
Well, kind of. Well, he pees gas.
Oh Lord. Okay, well, so and then he comes there, and it's all about Jamie Lee
And her son.
can tell. Yes, they introduce a new actor, and he's not new any longer because this was back in 1998 when Marco was born. Anyway, Josh Hartnett was a brand new introduced actor.
What was his character's name again?
I don't know.
Junior?
No. But he was her son.
Is it some reference? Like some obscure horror movie reference? Like, we named him that name because that name is from that movie.
No, I don't think it was anything like that. But
they did that for the whole movie. Like with Janet Leigh, they named her Norma because of Psycho.
Oh yeah, and then another thing, I'm glad you brought that up. Another little detail, which I don't know if anybody cares, it matters, but it was interesting. After, she didn't have that much screen time, but when it came for her to leave the screen, she wasn't going to be coming back. They had her drive away in a 1950s car. I think it was the same car same kind of car. I can't think of the name of it, but it was blue and white, and it was a 50s car, very common, and it could have been like the same kind of car she, in the movie Psycho.
It's the same one. It's a reference. Did you get that reference, Safi?
I don't know about a reference. I just thought it was interesting that she drove off in that 50s car, the same kind that she drove in the movie Psycho.
That was this whole movie. Reference, 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 reference.
I think we watched already too many Michael Myers movies.
Instead of Mr. Sandman, it should have been Mr. Reference Man.
And so anyway, that was the last scene, but that was interesting too. And it was something else. I guess it'll come up. I'll let Marco do his spiel now.
I'm starting.
Be prepared because he's kind of in a bad way.
I'm gonna have a stomach ache now. I think because of Taco Bell. I think I'm gonna have diarrhea again.
He's joking because he said he just got through telling me he had a really good lunch.
I'm starting to get a stomach ache now.
I had a horrible lunch and I hardly got to eat and I'm starving, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right,
Safi.
So go ahead, Marco.
Well, this movie sucked really, really badly. And it was easily the worst one that we've watched so far. Nothing beats this. It was fucking horrible. And it just... Where do I even begin? I mean, to start off, you got the guys who made Scream. Nobody wants to see that. Halloween is not Scream. Halloween is a movie that Scream takes reference from. Because Halloween is literally its own separate thing. Like, if all horror movies could just be this generic, and this trendy and hip and hoppin', then we wouldn't have any unique horror movies, which of course what we have nowadays. So basically this started that trend of let's just have everything be the same because people don't want unique things. They just want to see the same thing over and over and over again. And so this movie immediately starts off with a very unnecessary sequence where we see the nurse from the first two movies, Nurse Marion, which is a reference to Psycho. And we see Nurse Marion, and she's scared that someone broke into her house. And so there's this whole sequence with like checking the house with Joseph Warren-Levitt, and
that was another interesting thing. He was in the movie. I think he was excited he got to be in a Halloween movie.
I actually thought that I was like, God, we're not gonna get to see this place, like this perfect Halloweeny neighborhood. We have to go to California with this ugly scenery, with the ugly, this boring boarding school with all these girls who won't take their shirt off, and
What? They weren't asked to take their shirts off. They were going on a field trip to Yosemite.
Yeah, they need
for the weekend.
They need to go on a field trip to the script writing room, and get a different script, because this script was atrocious. The whole script was nothing but reference, 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 reference. You know, they recreated all these things from other movies. Well, basically the first two. Like they had where Michael picks up the boyfriend with his knife, just like he picked up the nurse in Halloween 2. And they had all these cutesy little references. And it just made me want to throw up. I mean, what a disgusting display of... I can't think of another D word to like describe this trash. I guess you'd call it. I mean, what's good about this movie, Safi? What's good about it?
I guess if you wanted to see Jamie Lee Curtis,
oh yeah,
talk about her brother, say, "It's my brother." Who is this guy? Whatever they call her.
It's my brother.
It's my brother. Now go hide in this room and don't come out.
And her first scene, she's like, ah!
Oh yeah, she's screaming at the top of her lungs.
That was hilarious.
Oh, brother.
We were like, oh, that's not what we wanted to see.
But she didn't do. I don't think she did it for the rest of the movie though.
Yeah, I thought that was a good choice, I guess. But this movie did not feel like a Halloween movie at all. It felt like a trendy teen movie. It felt like a just complete waste of time. I mean, there was no danger in it at all, because you knew that they weren't going to kill off Michael Myers. They weren't going to kill off Jamie Lee Curtis. In fact, the funny thing is that everyone says that they don't like how they brought Michael Myers back in the next movie. Well, guess what? They came up with that idea before making this movie. So they literally had that all planned out, like a perfect plan. So I don't want to hear any more of that. Michael he couldn't have come back because in H20. I don't want to hear it anymore from you little fanboys. I'm so sick of these fanboys. This movie is a product of fanboys. Safi even said it. Safi?
Yeah, I did. Because it was like, oh, I want to see a movie where Laurie Strode fights with her brother and fights to the death, or just a complete, because that's what it was. I'd say almost
35% of it.
Well, I'd say 50% of it. I was going to say more than that, but I think that's too much. But at least 50%, maybe a little more, where it was just him and her, and she was going after him, and he was going after her, and she was going after him, and it went back and forth, you know, and
I did kind of, well, okay, the one thing that I liked was I liked the son, played by Josh Hartnett,
Yeah, he's good.
And I liked him and his girlfriend, and I thought that they were good characters. And I liked the idea of them making Lori a better character, because part 6 fixed Michael, because they made Michael an actual character. And so what's the next step? You make Lori an actual character. But what did they do? They do this rushed job where it's like she's one way and then she's the other way in like 2 seconds. And it's just really like, really? Like, this is what we get? This trash movie? I mean, let's talk about the kills. The kills look so fake and so phony. There's hardly any blood. There's this one. I mean, Safi can even talk about how he slices Marion's neck in the beginning, and he slices it just like a little tiny bit, and this little tiny bit of blood comes out, and that's it. That's all it takes to kill her. And it's like, this is not Halloween. Like, this is bad. This is really bad. And everything that I say that's wrong about Halloween 2018 applies to this movie too, because this is the same type of thing where it's just, let's do all this fan service without making an actual good story. So, Safi,
Yeah?
what do you have to say about this piece of shit movie? What do you have to say?
I don't know what else to say. It was just very one note.
Speak up, Safi. The
It was
viewers
very
want to hear you.
I thought it was very one note.
And the sound was terrible.
Oh yeah,
too.
we had another problem with the sound, and so thankfully, Marco had bought this little piece that you put in the.
It's where you can
control,
put
and
two
then you plug
headphones in
your-
it, two earphones.
Yeah, it has 2 places where you can plug different for 2 people.
And I got that so that
Headphones.
we can do commentaries. It's actually like so we'll be using that for the Halloween remakes.
And that was so much better because
Yeah.
we didn't have that. We're just watching the movie on the TV, playing a DVD, and we could not hear. You could not hear 3/4 of it. You could just hear barely what was said, and we were just gonna might as well have not even had any sound.
Yeah.
It was so bad. So
Just put on
this was
subtitles.
this was an experiment, and so we did the thing with the earphones, and that actually helped it tremendously. So I'm thankful for that.
And let me tell you something. It has nothing to do with the movie. It has to do with the people who made this box set. Because this box set, guys, I own the box set for the series. I don't own Halloween 2018 because I don't own plagiarized materials, copycat materials. But I have the whole series on Blu-ray in the box set. And the sound has just been abysmal for these movies. Even with the good ones where you can hear the sound, you still have to turn it up a ton. And I just think that that's despicable. The fact that, we're watching Halloween movies and we can't hear the sound. I mean, the sound is like a major component of these films.
Well, especially like in this one, when there's nothing much going on. There's only one thing going on. That's it.
Oh, there's jump scares, remember? And this is the only one where, like, there's tons of these shitty jump scares where people bump into people and they go like, ah! And it's like, there's a big noise. And it's like, yeah, that's not scary at all. That's just, like, really lazy, really dumb. Yet again, this is, like, the perfect, like, modern horror movie. And somehow it came out in 1998. I don't know how that happened. Because it just shows that how Scream really ruined the horror genre. I've talked about that before. I guess I haven't, but I made a list of the top 10 movies that ruined horror, and number 1 was Scream, because what did they do? They made a Halloween movie, but made it Scream. And what else did they do, Safi?
I don't know.
Because you're falling asleep again.
No, I'm not falling asleep. I'm just.
They took the poster of Scream and they literally copied it on the Halloween H20 cover. That cover
Oh.
is literally the Scream poster. And it's like, what the so it really pissed me off. This movie, I could, but it's not worth it because this movie's just like so one dimensional and one note.
It
I mean,
really is.
there's like nothing to talk about except for just like the ideals and the concepts and the the making of it and the reaction.
And the things that I had brought up about her mother and
So
the new actor they introduced, and there was one more thing. I'll have to think about it some more.
and then it was funny because at the end they actually played the real Halloween music, and it was better than any of the Halloween music that they made for this movie. And so it was almost like a big FU because it was like we had this music the whole time and could have played it, but instead we had to play this horrible music. Safi, this was the worst Halloween theme of the series. And now let's talk about Michael Myers because he basically could have been played by anybody. There was nothing to his performance at all. And the mask was terrible. Just everything about Michael Myers was terrible. The only good thing about Michael Myers was there was this really good part where Laurie is walking with her stupid axe, and she's got like a man's haircut too. That's another weird thing.
Oh well, that Freaky Friday?
Yeah.
She had it for that too.
It's a really weird haircut. You know, Laurie Strode never would have gotten that haircut at all.
I think it has something to do with was probably getting gray hair, and in order to get rid of the gray hair, you have to color it constantly, and that's probably.
Yeah, but what about the haircut?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So the less hair you have, the less you have to color, and the less time it takes to fix your hair. That's what I think that has to do with.
Well, she doesn't care about it anymore because it's completely gray in these new ones. So, where she looks like a witch.
I don't know if that's her. I know it. I don't like it at all.
Oh, we'll get to that movie. So
I think that's a wig because I think she's really has short hair.
I think that whole movie was a wig. But anyway, there's this part where Laurie is walking in the school, and then behind her, it turned out that Michael was actually like in the ceiling the whole time, and so then he pulls himself down from the bar. So in other words, he was and everyone's talked about this too. He was holding his entire body up over this bar for who knows how long, waiting for her to come into the corridor. And I just thought that was really cool, and they should have had more stuff like that in this movie to make him like even scarier and more like threatening. So Safi, what would you rate Halloween H2 shit?
Okay, well, we went to Taco Bell for lunch. I didn't know what to have for lunch today, and I was in kind of a really bad mood. And
this movie didn't help.
well, it was a fan movie, so you have these fans of Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers, and you got to see them face off almost half the movie. And so if that's what you wanted to watch, then you got to see that, because it did happen. And, okay, back to my rating. I thought, you know what I'll do? A problem I have with Taco Bell is that I really like their Mexican pizza. I don't know if any of you have had it. Had it because it's no longer in the menu. It was like, other than like Taco Supreme with just beef and a shell, and it has lettuce and tomato and cheese on it. That was all I ate basically at Taco Bell, and they took it off the menu.
So it's basically like how they erased 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, so I thought, well, you know what? I'll get some nachos, but I won't just get the nachos they have where you just pour cheese on them. I probably should have, because I probably would have eaten it, but just that wouldn't have been filling either. I got like a loaded what's it called? Nachos
Nachos
del
Bel Grande.
Bel Grande.
So large something nachos something
So
nacho Bel
so
Grande.
anyway, it had a little cheese and the meat was ew. It was like ground up and like soft, almost like
It was
a bean
soft.
burrito thing.
Ugh.
And you know it wasn't.
Oh.
And then they had a couple little pieces of chopped tomato. They had no lettuce,
Oh.
and then of course the cheese that's all melted, and that was it. And the chips, I ew. It was just awful. I just took 5 bites because I was hungry, and I drank the Pepsi because that was the only thing that I liked, basically, and a small one. And so it was not good. It was just basically a very one note dish because there was no lettuce. There's, I mean, not even any lettuce, and hardly any tomato. I mean, you know, when you make nachos, you can do a lot with it, and probably I know I could do about 10,000 times better making my own nachos.
Well, it's funny because I said that we could go to this new burrito place where everything is fresh and everything is freshly made and everything made right there. It'd probably be really hot.
It's a long way away,
No,
though,
it's not.
compared to what this place is like down the street.
And so
Practically.
Safi said if we went there, she wouldn't eat anything there.
No.
So it was. So she basically doomed herself because if she had said that she wanted to get something at that burrito place, then I would have gone there, and
Yeah,
she would have had a good meal.
Marco wants to try the place,
Yeah,
and it would have been better because I tell you it was
I know it
almost as
would've.
bad as yesterday,
Yeah.
where I went to a KFC to get my favorite meal. I look forward to all week long because practically one of the only things that I eat that I like. You have to understand, I have to take this medication once a day. It's just a capsule, but it destroys my taste. So everything I eat practically has no taste. So I just I've been taking this pill since 2013. So basically, it's been like this for a long time, and I force myself to eat. It's mostly none of it, and sweets, ice cream, all that. Ugh, I can't stand it. Anyway, uh, so yesterday it was such a disappointment. But that was, you know, something I eat once a week. This I don't know if I've ordered nachos. It's just been cheese and chips, and not this other. And so it was such a disappointment. But you know, not as bad as yesterday. But it was still like, you know, I'm starving now. I didn't have much to eat, and
Have a beer,
no,
Safi.
I don't drink.
Go on,
Anyway,
go on the Atkins diet and have a beer,
no, I don't
like
drink.
Tom Atkins.
Okay, I don't drink, and I do that because of the medicine.
Have a beer.
And I won't say anything else because nobody cares. But anyway, it's just, that's what it was like because it was very, since it was hardly anything but meat, kind of mushed meat, ugh, God, and cheese that had been melted. That's about like what the movie was. It was very one-dimensional.
Well, who's the meat and who's the cheese? And which do you like more?
I don't know. I think they're both the same.
Oh.
So they're just like, because it's just all about the two of them fighting each other and who's going to come out on top. But we all know that the only one that's ever going to come out on top
Is Jamie Lee Curtis.
is him because he can't be killed because he belongs to this cult. Oh, that's right.
Oh,
They didn't
no.
even mention that in this movie.
That doesn't exist anymore,
He
Safi.
didn't even have that tattoo. It kind of disappeared with that idea. And this is where this series is totally inconsistent. And I mean, really, we just watched it. The last movie we watched, Halloween 6. We just saw
The producer's cut.
whole bit the producer's cut, and it was a good movie.
It was really good.
And we just saw a whole thing about this tat. It's kind of like a triangle with a squarish hook. Really weird. And all this about him being, this cult promoted him and pushed him. And the young girl who grew up and got impregnated by him, all that horrible crap, you know, that she's never even existed as far as this movie's concerned. So there's no ties. The movies don't tie in with each other. And that's really unbelievable. But anyway, we're talking about what I ate. So anyway, it's very, like I said, this movie is one, it ignores everything that we just saw, which is bizarre.
Well,
and
we've
it's
really
one-dimensional.
Well, we've really discovered that that's the main problem with the series. And so what does the new series do? Oh, it ignores everything. Of course. So
And it's almost like if they do anything, because now we already saw that 2018, we saw that a couple of years ago.
one time, fortunately. Oh.
Right. Oh, God. Is that awful?
And we'll
now
have to watch it
they've got another
again.
one coming out
And this one.
very shortly.
And there was this Reddit post I saw, and they posted a clip of Sheriff Brackett from the first movie saying a line. And then they showed him in the new movie, and what does he do? He says the same line from the first movie. Oh. And it's like, this is just gross and pathetic. Like, this is what you fanboys live for? Like, just seeing them literally plagiarize and repeat things from other movies? Like, ugh.
That's what I mean. I just wish they would have ended it. And, you know, Marco actually made a suggestion. I can't remember exactly how it went, but that sounded good too. Either ended it or do what he said and then ended it.
Well,
and,
it just
and then end it.
all it takes is that you have to do 3 movies, and then that are good, and then end it there. And so after that, there won't be a need to do it anymore.
I think people are ready for something else, and I think it's time for him to retire.
I think it's time to stop copying the first movie over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because I'm getting sick of it. And watching this series has just completely exposed it. And so I hope I can finally do my rating now.
Okay.
I immediately knew at the end of this movie that my rating would be something that is also a hamburger, because this series is a lot of hamburgers. It's very American, and it's very, traditional, cliche, classic type thing. Was it last year or the year before where I binge watched the piece of shit Mindhunter series?
No.
And I ate the Impossible Burger at Burger King.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no.
With fries, small fries actually, and then an Oreo shake. And it was probably one of the most grossest things I've ever eaten. The Impossible Burger made out of who knows what. It's made out of what's it made out of, Safi?
It's made out of plant. I'm sorry. I know some vegans. And
yeah,
they eat
fuck
some
vegans.
Of the, no, that's not right.
Fuck vegans.
No, that is not right.
Fuck vegans.
Marco, be quiet. Anyway, I just don't see how they do it. I just saw something recently. I'm not going to say which person it was. It's somebody I follow on YouTube. And she made, it was actually interesting, because I wouldn't mind doing this for a regular pizza, but, she made kind of a vegan pizza in a,
so a gross pizza.
It was in
a pizza
one of
no
those
one wants.
pots. What was it? A Dutch oven over a campfire, and she made it with one of the I think it was sausage and cheese and maybe some actual real vegetables.
But it wasn't real
But
sausage.
the cheese and the sausage. Well, the sausage was okay. It seemed like, But you could tell by looking at the cheese, and this was like a long way away, and she's eating, and it's cheese made from plants, and it just looked gross. And so they had that Impossible Burger. Would you say was for
Burger King.
I bet they don't even have that anymore. That Impossible, but they could. They have plant everything. We go to this health food store and they have a lot of good stuff.
Can I get back to my writing
Well,
now?
anyway, it's that Impossible Burger. Oh God, it does sound gross.
Maybe I should force you to eat it.
Oh God.
So I got it, and I wasn't planning on eating that all the time.
No.
I just thought it would be fun to try it for fun.
Sure.
And so immediately when I opened it up, it looked like something I can't even say in front of Safi.
Oh my God. It's just the fact. I'm sorry. I I have enough trouble eating without thinking about eating something made out of a plant.
It looked like you. It looked like you get giardia from eating it.
Oh please.
And so then I put it. And it didn't have any sauce on it either. And so I put it in my mouth, and immediately it was cold. It was ice cold.
Yeah, that's another thing. Oh God.
And it tasted just like it tasted like styrofoam with beef flavoring in it. Like it was so unnatural and so disgusting.
Now, to be fair, now that is probably when they first started with this food that has made out of plants. Really?
It was like a year or two after they started.
Oh, well, I was just thinking in general. I mean, it's really exploded. Because if you go to the store, you can see there's tons of stuff made
and nobody
plants.
buys it.
I guess. I don't know. Well, I know
I'm not buying it.
Vegans do. Because I know I've seen other things where...
You think that eating flesh is gross. I mean, eating this Impossible Burger is even worse.
Oh, God.
And so I ate the whole thing.
Just thinking about it makes me want to...
I had to put my own sauce on it to try to make it taste good. But it was so gross and so unnatural. And it was the grossest burger I've ever had. And I've had some gross burgers. Even like burgers that were undercooked were better than this.
It was just like that cheese and the pizza. It looked like plastic.
And it had this texture where it was dry too. It was dry. It didn't have any juiciness to it at all. And because it's very like ugh. And so then I had the fries. The fries were cold too. And they had so much salt on them that it was like they were coated in salt.
Well, that's why I told you. You eat KFC, it's boiling hot.
And then the Oreo shake, was gross too, and it just tasted like sugar.
Well, that's too bad.
It was so gross. It really didn't taste like Oreos as much as it tasted like sugar.
That should have actually been better.
There were no Oreo bits in it at all. It was just like little tiny crumbles of Oreo. And so that's this movie.
Well,
Safi, what do you think of that?
Oh boy. Just the thought of that even makes my lunch even worse.
So
everybody.
That's H20.
It's interesting.
No, it's not.
It's interesting to watch these different ones, but they're really
not this one.
It's kind of a travesty.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why the original person, the person who made the original movie is good with this. Is he dead or something?
No, he just likes getting all the money that he gets from it.
Yeah, cha-ching.
So he's sold out.
Well, that's pretty bad when you're. I mean, people. I've seen this and I've talked about it previously, probably a while back. But certain books where the author got really upset by what they did with their work, and then when you have this author who's totally on board with them and their distortions and they're like repeating things and ignoring others.
It's basically like the series as a whole is like Jamie, and then it's like they're holding her down and having Michael rape her right in front of John Carpenter as he watches, and he's like, I don't care because I'm getting paid.
Yeah, I just, we're in Halloween month, and
Yeah.
it's fun to just watch,
Not this one.
not this one, but it's nice to just, like, I think even for Christmas, we should probably watch a Christmas movie a day, because
Yeah.
it's fun. It's a whole month. Everybody loves fall, and everybody loves Halloween. I guess there's some that don't. But it seems like a lot more people are enthusiastic
Whack
about
job
it than,
Christians.
no, not really.
Yeah.
But than
They're
Christmas.
like, Halloween used to be a scary holiday where pagans would make sacrifices. And so that's really scary. And, I'm just, ew, Halloween is evil. Ew.
Well,
I
anyway.
can't watch Harry Potter because I'm a pussy.
Okay, we don't talk like that. Okay, anyway, I think people love just Halloween in general. It's fun, and you get to it's like and you have such a positive image. Fall, and pumpkins and pumpkin flavored food and coffees. The whole thing, and decorating, which we haven't done any decorating yet, that is a travesty. And so anyway, are we done now? Because we have to.
I've been done for a while.
So let's tell everybody we want you to like if you like this video.
Dislike.
And also subscribe. We love new subscribers. And give a comment if are you doing the same thing we are, or have you done the same thing where you've watched every single Halloween movie ever made? Because I think you should. You're going to get a real hard-faced education how things have just suddenly disappear.
Well, I'm so glad that we
reappear.
didn't marathon these movies.
Oh no, I'm not doing that ever. And
I would.
He's talking about binge watch. I
it would
really
be torture.
hate binge watching.
Well, it would just think about how torture it would be, considering how inconsistent this series has been.
Oh, I know. You'd probably go insane doing that.
You go like like that.
I don't know, but it would be. It would probably take you a year to recover.
It would turn you into Michael Myers.
No.
Yeah.
But anyway, so goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.